So namaste everyone. We are opening up a new session in this house, Advaita Vedanta Satsang. We had the inaugural talk on Sunday on from battlefield to inner battlefield, or battlefield history to inner battlefield. And so the actual sessions start today, and Bindoji is offering us a series of rooms starting today, every day on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST. And on Sunday, we'll have the open discussion as usual. So I hope you join us and catch up on, the daily sessions. For, housekeeping reasons, we'll shut down the chat and the hand raising when the session is in process, after which Bindoji will take up some questions. We'll open up the chat and the hand raising. And thank you for joining us. Over to you, Bindoji.
Thank you, Prakash. Welcome all. So we are now entering into the great book, Bhagavad Gita. So let me do my prayers before I do the starting. Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmedi Murti Veda Vipakine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om. Bhagavad Gita has got its own Dhyana Slokhas. So I will just chant it for my own this purpose, and later I'll explain after giving a preamble to that. So just bear with me till I do the 7-8 slokas. Om Partaya Pradibodhita Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Graditam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamrutavarshini Bhagavatim Ashtadeshadyayini Amba Tvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Kullara Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vaitreka Panaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gita Mrudaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandanaha Partho Vachasudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Mritam Mahad Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsajanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadronatata Jayadratachala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwattama Vikharna Goramakara Duryodhanavartini Stotirna Khalu Pandavairangati Kaivartaka Keshava Parasharya Vachas Sarojamamalam Gītārtha Gandhotkadam Nānāsyanaka Kesharam Harikatha Sambodhanabodhidam Loke sajjana shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam muda Bhuyad bharata pangajam Kalimala pradhvamsana shreyase Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim Yatkripartamaham vande Paramanandamadabam Yam brahma varunendra rudramarutaha Dhunvanti divyaistavai Vedai sangapadkramo Upanishadai Gayanti yam samagaha Dhyanavastita tadgadena manasa Pashyanti yam yoginaha Yasyandam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. This Dhyana Sloka or meditative verses of Bhagavad Gita is very famous. The author is unknown, and when did it start, we have no idea. I won't be chanting this every day. So it's only for the first day, first time I am doing it. But I'll be chanting it before the class myself. So those who are familiar with it or want to do that, you can do it before we start the class. Now to give a bit of preamble to the Bhagavad Gita and my approach to Gita, I want to clarify in the beginning itself that I may not be following any particular text or system or what you call lineage of teaching, even though I will be leaning upon multiple of them for each aspect of teachings in the Gita. There are number of translations and commentaries by Bhagavad Gita. That is one of the largest commended books in the philosophical range here. From the earliest ones starting with Shankaracharya and others, and even to the latest ones by Swami Chinmayananda, Swami Dayananda, and others who are in their following traditions also. So you will find that these are being available either as books or web pages or internet sites available. That is why we are not pinned up any particular book or any a specific book in the top, unlike the earlier times. And I have also not prepared any book of my own or any, narrative of what I want to talk in this particular segment. Therefore, there is no PDF prepared by me, unlike the other times. So we will be approaching Bhagavad Gita with an open mind. There is philosophical aspect, there is practical aspect, there is also handbook, an encyclopedia of life, etc. Different aspects of Bhagavad Gita is used for. Even management, theories of management is also present in Bhagavad Gita. So, but we are not going to get into any of those details right now. Bhagavad Gita, as we all know, is a compilation of 700 verses. And these 700 verses have been divided into 18 chapters. Each one called a yoga by itself. Starting with Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Yoga means again It is a aspect or a practice from which we can learn something. And that learning is for our own benefit. Now the first chapter, when it says Arjuna Vishada Yoga, is talking about the despondency of Arjuna as we hear it will educate us what is the despondency which are holding us in our life, which we may not be aware of. So there is a teaching what is going to happen place in each of those chapters. I'm not naming all the 18 now. Each one as we go, we will take it up one by one. To give a background, there are 4 characters in the 700 verse. Dhritarashtra, the grandsire of Kauravas, the main, he is the king of Hastinapura, and his crown prince is Duryodhana. Duryodhana is not in the Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra by birth is a blind king, and his trusted company or companion is his charioteer, and his name is Sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya are the 2 characters. Then Krishna and Arjuna are the other 2 characters. So there are 4 characters in this poem of Bhagavad Gita which complete the entire picture. The opening verse is a question by the king Dhritarashtra, who is by birth blind, to his charioteer, asking what is happening in the battlefield. And Sanjaya is narrating to Dhritarashtra. Now, when we look into this aspect of a blind king being explained by a charioteer, we may think that how did the charioteer know about the whole picture or what is happening in the Mahabharata war? He is having a lineage of Gavalanga, as his father, Sanjay's father, belongs to a bard community or a charioteer community. And in the position wise, he is also a minister in the court of Dhritarashtra. He is an advisor to Dhritarashtra. He is also a charioteer and the most trusted person for the blind king Dhritarashtra. The role for Sanjaya in the Mahabharata is that he reports the events of the Kurukshetra war or the Mahabharata war as they happen, despite being physically far away from the battlefield. Now, Vyasa, who is the author of Mahabharata, before the war was to take place, came to Dhritarashtra, who is a blind person, and told him that I can give you special vision. I can give you vision back so that you can know yourself what is happening in the war. So Dhritarashtra says, no, I don't want to have this special vision. You give it to Sanjaya, whom I trust most, let him have the vision whereby he can report me everything live as it happens. Vyasa says that the vision which I am going to give you is not ordinary vision which is for the human beings, but this is a divine vision, Divya Chakshu, that as you want, you can go forward, backward, you can be present anywhere and everywhere, wherever you want to be. Nobody will see you, even if it is in the middle of the war where the arms and arrows and spears will be flying here and there. It will not touch you. And there will not be any footprint anywhere, wherever you go, so that nobody will know you are present there. Plus, you will also be able to see the path each of the dead soul takes after having killed in the battle. Their trajectory to the next birth can also be seen by this vision. So why don't you take it yourself instead of giving it to Sanjaya? Vyasa asked him second time. Dhritarashtra was adamant. No, I don't want, because I may not see impartially because I got my love for my children. So my presence will be around my children and I may not know everything what is happening in the war. Sanjay, on the contrary, is impartial and he has no side to take because he has loved my children and my brother's children, who are now fighting obviously, equally. So he will not be taking any side and reporting partial information. He will report things as it is. Therefore, I trust Sanjay's words more than my own vision. That was the faith the king Dhritarashtra, the blind king of Hastinapura, placed on Sanjay. And this vision was granted by Vyasa to Sanjaya, enabling him to see this battle from any place and everywhere, or wherever he wants to report to Dhritarashtra based on what he is asking. Sanjaya is not imagining or retelling the story, but he is reporting it as if witnessing himself in real time, because he can travel forward and backward in time. Why I am saying he can forward and backward in time is that the first verse of Bhagavad Gita is where Dhritarashtra is asking what happened to my children and Pandu's children in the war. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre kimat kurvata Sanjaya. That question itself is being asked on the 10th day of the war. So you should understand that Sanjaya is being asked about a question of what did my sons and the Pandu's sons do in Kurukshetra, the place of war. Why on the 10th day? Because that is the day when Dhritarashtra hears that Bhishma, the Pitamaha or the grandsire of both the fighting first teams, both the Pandavas as well as Kauravas, great grandsire, Bhishma has fallen in the field by Arjuna using a eunuch prince in front of Bhishma. Because Bhishma has taken a vow that he will fight only persons with arms and that too he has to be a male or female. But he will not fight who is neither a male or nor a female, a eunuch. So Shikanti is a prince who is eunuch by birth. But being a prince, he has learned everything to fight a war. So when Arjuna wanted to defeat Bhishma, he could not do by ordinary means. That is the time when Krishna tells Arjuna, you do one thing, you bring Shikanti in front of you, let Shikanti approach Bhishma for the fighting. Bhishma will not take up arms because he will not fight a eunuch. That time you can hit Bhishma with your own arrows and make him fall on the battlefield. That information reaches Dhritarashtra's ears, and Dhritarashtra now is worried about it because he knew that as long as Bhishma is fighting, the victory is on their side. Because Bhishma has defeated his own guru Parashurama. He has defeated all the devas and devatas in the fight, and nobody has ever been able to win against Bhishma. So Dhritarashtra was overconfident that as long as Bhishma is there, he never bothered to ask what is happening in the war. Because he was so sure that as long as Bhishma is fighting the war, he doesn't have to even ask who is winning the war. But on the 10th day, when he heard that Bhishma has fallen on the war field, hit by Arjuna's arrows, who used Shikanti as a shield to fight Bhishma. That perturbed Dhritarashtra. That is why he starts asking the question, what happened in the war? Please tell me, Sanjaya. And Sanjaya that time is explaining the situation. That is how the first chapter is beginning. Now, even though the same question by Dhritarashtra had asked earlier, but not to Sanjaya, to others, they all had given him answers. Because as a king, he has a inquisitiveness and his love for his own children. He had asked the same question again before also. What is happening in the war and everything. That's why how he came to know on the 10th day Bhishma has fallen. But when the 10th day he knew that Bhishma has fallen, he asked Sanjaya to use his special divine vision and tell from the beginning how the whole thing has unfolded in the war of Kurukshetra. Now the word Kurukshetra, Kurunam Kshetra, Kurukshetra. It is the Kuru. Kuru is a dynasty to which both the Kauravas and Pandavas belonged. But then due to the reason that the children of Pandavas were not born out of Pandu the king. They were all special boons given to Kunti by different gods. Indra, Vayu, etc. These gods have given special boons, and the children were like Karna, Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, etc. Whereas on the other side, Gandhari is the one which is giving birth to a lump which was neither a human being nor any form. So there Vyasa goes and tells the wife or Dhritarashtra that you make them into 100 pieces and put them in 100 jars. Over time they will mature and you will have children, 100 children and one girl. So that is how the 100 princes were born to Dhritarashtra. So they were called the lineage of Kuru, whereas the children of Pandu, the other king, his brother, younger brother, did not beget children of his own, but from the good blessing of Devatas. So they were called Pandus. Now, the enmity between these two was right from the childhood onwards. And the Kauravas, Dhritarashtra's children, always used deceitful, cheating and unethical ways to make their own cousins suffer in the childhood onwards, including the stage of sending them for a forest life for 14 years and then denying them of even 1 inch of space in the kingdom. That is why the reason the war also had to take place, because they had to now fight against the unrighteousness of these boys, 100 boys, to claim back their own kingdom. That being the background of Mahabharata, where the war had to take place. I'm not getting into the detail because Mahabharata itself is about 100,000 verses. And there are stories and sub-stories and sub-stories and sub-stories like that. Plenty of them are to read. And they are all interconnected because the characters are all connected. So we cannot cover the Mahabharata even if a lifetime is available for reading the book and explaining that. All what we can read is narratives or explanations written by others in a short form. So when the war is there, we have now to approach Gita or the teachings in the Gita. Each chapter is, as I said, is a yoga. And as per my personal approach to Gita, each one is a treatise by itself. A solution for our day-to-day problems in the title of that treatise itself. So, when we are looking into Bhagavad Gita, even though we may look the 18 chapters as one book, it is better to treat each chapter as a standalone book for the purpose of studying. Shankaracharya wrote a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita for the purpose of Prasthanatraya. He has written as it is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavata Gitam Bhagavad Gita. Sung by the Lord. Bhagavad, the word meanam, Bhagavad Gita, the meaning of the word is that Geetam means is a song. Bhagavata means by the Lord Krishna. Song by Lord Krishna means is the word meaning of Bhagavad Gita. So Shankaracharya has started commenting only from the 11th verse sloka of the second chapter. Because that is where the Bhagavan Krishna is starting advising Arjuna. Ashotyan anyashojastvam. That is the way in which he starts that verses. But there are 47 verses in the first chapter, plus 10 verses in the beginning of the second chapter, where Shankaracharya has not commented. But earlier commentators, other than Shankaracharya's period, like Ramanuja, Madhva, or Abhinavagupta, all of them have commented, and even in the Abhinavagupta is a Kashmiri Shaivism Pandit, and Madhusudana Saraswati or others have commented on the beginning onwards. Both Madhvacharya and Shankaracharya has not commented on all the verses. Some verses they have left it as it is. Because some places Madhvacharya has felt there is no specific need to comment upon what Shankara has already commented, so he has left it. Where he felt that it is different from his viewpoint, he has commented upon that. Whereas Ramanujacharya has commented from the first verse onwards. Then Sridharacharya, Vallabhacharya, all of them, there are plenty of them available in the Sanskrit itself. Then there is English translations, there are Hindi translations, and vernacular languages, it is available. So Bhagavad Gita has got the maximum commentaries available in India for the dialects or the language which you are using, whether it is Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, or Marathi, Gujarati, Bengali, Punjabi, all of them are available. So today, we will approach the Bhagavad Gita with a open mind. There are plenty of things which we can learn from Bhagavad Gita. Madhusudana Saraswati, who is in the lineage of Shankaracharya, but also a great devotee of Lord Krishna, he has written a commentary called Gudhartha Deepika. But he has categorized 3 sections, each one consisting about 6 chapters. The first 6 chapters, he refers it as a Karma Kanda. The second 6 chapters is the Bhakti Kanda. And the last 6 chapters he has categorized as Jnana Kanda. His approach is that both the karma and jnana are opposed to each other, which we saw it in the commentary of Ishavasya Upanishad, where Shankaracharya said, no, Parvatavat akampyaha. Both of them are like 2 mountains standing separate. It can never be made into one. You can make 2 lakes join together by connecting them. But 2 mountains can never be made into one. So Parvatavat akampya is the word used by Shankaracharya for jnana and karma. There cannot be a samuchaya. But Madhusudana Saraswati, being a devotee, he wanted to bring in the approach that the bhakti aspect or the devotional aspect, which we also saw in the end of Aparokshanubhuti, that the devotion to the Guru and the Ishvara will help a person to do the nididhyasana and realize it. So that approach is what is being taken by Madhusudana Saraswati. He says that the bhakti aspect which is placed in the middle of Bhagavad Gita is for making a link between the immovable nature of karma and jnana. So the karma, when it is mixed with bhakti, the karma starts malleable. Same way, the beginning of jnana, the jnana will become error-free and distortion-free or rid of doubts and misapprehension when your mind is devoted to the Lord. So the bhakti acts in between the karma and jnana to bridge the gap between their immovability. That is the approach Madhusudana Saraswati has brought it. We will see it as we go through the each chapters. So when it is required, I'll bring in aspects from Madhusudana Saraswati. When it is required, I'll bring it from Madhvacharya. I'll bring it from Shankaracharya. So that we are not hard and fast saying that I am following this only. Now, to tell you my personal approach as Bindoji, who has studied this one, Bhagavad Gita, I am not hard and fast to adhere to one philosophy. While Shankaracharya's philosophy is required in certain places, it is not adept and doing justice in some other places. Whereas Madhvacharya has done, Madhusudana Saraswati has done, Ramanujacharya has done, wherever it is the best suited approach to understand the message of Krishna for our benefit, and that too in an age where we are flooded with information through the internet and all other places. We have sources of multiple nature to look for. So the best way I found it is that learn the Bhagavad Gita in the original Sanskrit, which I was blessed due to my knowledge of Sanskrit, and using that and the commentaries from others, which is most aligned with the intent of Krishna and suiting the best for the context what is being advised to Arjuna is what I found the best approach to Bhagavad Gita. If we watertight ourselves into compartments of this philosophy, that philosophy, we are losing out. The reason why I took this approach is that Bhagavad Gita was written much before all those philosophies crystallized. It had Sankhya, it had Bhakti, it had Yoga. All those things were available when Bhagavad Gita was written by Vyasa. So it had Advaita in it. It has Sankhya in it. It has got Nyaya in it. It has got all the philosophies in India available in the Bhagavad Gita. And for the very reason, the entire philosophical network in India revere the book Bhagavad Gita, and they are never at loggerheads with one another when it comes to Bhagavad Gita. Their own philosophies may be at loggerheads with one another, but to each one of them, Bhagavad Gita has got a unique place in their philosophy. And they are not denying the place of Bhagavad Gita for their philosophy. That very reason is why I felt that we should also approach with multiple options available with us. Rather than saying that, no, I will only see it from Advaitic point of view, or I will see it only from the Bhakti point of view, like that. It will give us a clarity. See, the purpose of studying any philosophical book or a book like Gita is, it has to come for our help in our day-to-day life. Otherwise, what is the necessity of studying a book of this nature? We are not here to, debate on philosophy or debate on the grammar or formation of sentences or etc., etc. The study of Bhagavad Gita should be such a that it should help me in becoming a better human being, and it should help me in finding what is the happiness which I do not get otherwise. So with these things in our mind, I will today give the meaning of the Dhyana Sloka, and we will start the Bhagavad Gita, the verses from tomorrow. So the first Dhyana Sloka is Partaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam. That which was taught to Arjuna by Lord Narayana himself. That is, Narayanena Swayam means by Narayana himself. Bhagavata, Lord Narayana. Partaya Pratibodhitam, for the benefit of Arjuna or for teaching Arjuna. Vyasena Gritidam Purana Munina. Purana Munina Vyasena Gritidam. So Vyasa is being told as the Purana Muni. Gratita means who has written that epic. Where did he write that? Madhye Mahabharatam. In the middle of Mahabharata. Actually, in the middle of Mahabharata, there is a parva or a section called Bhishma Parva. In the Bhishma Parva, there is a specific parva called Gita Parva. And Bhagavad Gita is that. Therefore, Madhye Mahabharata. Advaitamrita Varshini. Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim. Bhagavati, down here the Bhagavad Gita is considered as a Devi or a what you call mother goddess with Ashtadashadhyayinim, with 18 chapters, which Advaita Amrita Varshini, the non-dual essence, nectar, Amrita means nectar, Varshini, which bestows or which showers us with the nectar of Advaita. Amba Tvam Anusandadami, O Mother, who showers the nectar of Advaita, I am meditating upon you. Bhavadveshini, who removes the samsara from me. Bhavad here it means samsara. By Bhagavad Gita. By this Bhagavad Gita, Amba Bhagavad Gita. So, Bhagavad Gita is being addressed as Mother Goddess. Then the next verse is Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purna Prajwalido Jnana Maya Pradipaha. So, salutations to Vyasa, who has the immense intellect, because to visualize the entire Mahabharata and then write about 100,000 verses in such cryptic Sanskrit poem, linking the connectivity between the stories, you need immense intellect. And he is being described as the one with the lotus flower eyes, as the buds of the lotus flower, who has filled up the oil of the lamp of Mahabharata and with the wisdom to pinpoint it. So he has not only lit the lamp called Mahabharata, and that itself becomes the torch or the light of wisdom for those who are following that. Prapanna parijataya totra vaitrega panaye jnana mudhraya krishnaya gitamruta duhe namaha. So my salutations are to Krishna. He is like a Parijata tree. Parijata tree is supposed to be a tree, a mythical tree, which bestows the wishes to those who go and pray to them. So I am approaching Krishna, who I am seeing as the Parijata tree, or the tree which can bestow all the wishes. Totra Vaitrega Panaye. Krishna is the charioteer of Arjuna in the Mahabharata. He is a friend, he is a cousin, he is also the charioteer for the war purpose. So he has the chabuk, or what you call the cane, to drive the horses. Also he has that with him, because he is also a shepherd or a one who used to rear cows as a hobby. Jnana Budraya Krishnaya. And he has always, by his hand, shown the seal of Jnana. While narrating the advice to Arjuna, he was holding his hand in the Jnana Mudra. Therefore, as a invoking Jnana. Sarvopanishato gavo dogda gopala nandanaha. Partho vachat sudhir bhokta dugdam gitamrutam mahat. Here again, all the Upanishads are pictured as cows in front of Krishna, who milks the Upanishads for feeding the calf in the form of Arjuna, who is now become devotee, Shishyastam Adimam Prapannam. And the milk is in the form of a nectar of knowledge, which Krishna is giving to him. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsajanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Mande Jagadgurum. Now this verse, I salute the teacher of the world, Jagadguru. That is the word I would like to use for Krishna all through my lectures. Because he is has shown his benevolence and love to the one who has approached him, Arjuna here. So when we approach Bhagavad Gita, we should have the same attitude with which Arjuna approached Krishna for the benefit. Therefore, he is a Jagat Guru who has killed Kamsa and Chanura and the one who gave divine joy to Devaki Paramanandam. He gave extreme happiness on one side to his mother, but he was as ferocious and killing the two negative forces, Kamsa and Chanura, which shows the both sides, the same person can be loving and giving joy to those who demand joy. But those who challenge it, fight against it, or question it, he can be ruthless. So such a Krishna who is the teacher for the universe, and he is the son of Vasudeva. So that is the picturization given in this verse. And there is a bigger verse which is the entire Mahabharata is being depicted as a situation in a flowing river. Bhishma Drona Tata Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Neelolpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Karnena Vela Kula Ashwatvama Vikarna Gora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sostirna Khalu Pandavai Rananadi Kaivartaka Keshava. Keshava is the Krishna. Is what? Kaivartaka. He is the one who can cross across the river of war. Who crossed the Pandavas across the river of war. And what type of a river it was there? Where Bhishma and Drona are the two banks. You know, you can't escape the banks without, from one bank to another bank, you cannot cross when you have, you know, the banks itself becomes steep and like a cliff. You can't cross over that. So Bhishma and Drona are the two mighty warriors standing on either side of the bank, not allowing you to escape that war of river. Jayadratha as the water, the flow of the river of Mahabharata war was like, you know, a flood. Shakuni, the king of Gandhara, was the blue lotus. Shalya was the crocodile. These are the name of the kings who were on the side of Duryodhana fighting against the Pandavas. Kripa was the tide and Karna was a mighty wave. Ashwatvama and Vikarna, these two were the alligators in that dangerous river. And Duryodhana was the whirlpool, Vartini. So that is the way in which that Mahabharata war was depicted. And only Kaivartaka Keshava, only because Krishna was on the side of the Pandava, they could win over the war. Parasharya Vachasarojam Amalam Gidartha Gandhotkadam Nana Kyanaka Kesaram Karikata Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam Muda Bhuyad Bharata Pankajam Galimala Pradvamsana Shreyase. Now, let the lotus flower of Mahabharata, which arose from the water, which are the words of the son of Parashara, which has the pollen grains, different stories. So Vyasa is the son of Parashara. And the pollens, grains from different stories in the Mahabharata is compared to the, pollens of a flower, of the lotus flower, which is the Vyasa, son of Parashara, which is taught in the form of stories of Vishnu. And that is drunk by the honeybee of very good people to help those who want to remove the ills of Kali Yuga. So that Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha. Sajjana Shatpadairaha. Shatpadai means like the butterflies. Sajjana means good people in the Loka. Pepiya Manganam Muda. Nectar being drunk by those butterflies. Bhuyangat. From the torturing worldly life. Pangajam Kalimala Pradvamsana Shreyasi. This lotus, which is emitting the pollens in the form of the stories from the Mahabharata, is the save you from the Kalimala, the Kali Yuga torture, which is being approaching everyone. But those who are with good intent, Sajjanai, they are benefited from that. How? Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripata maham mande paramananda madhava. I salute to Madhava, Paramananda, who is in the nature of supreme bliss, whose grace can make a dumb man eloquent and a crippled lame person to cross mountains. It is all what is required is the grace from Krishna. It is achievable. Yam Brahma Varunendra Dramaritaha Stunnundi Divyastavai Vedai Sanga Patakramopanishadais Gayandi Yam Samagaha Dhyana Vastita Tadgadena Manasa Pashyandi Yam Yoginaha Yasyandam Na Vidussura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. I salute him who is being worshipped by the divine chants of Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra, Vayu, etc. All the devas are worshipping him. Who is pleased by the singing of Samaveda? By singing of the Vedas and the Upanishad, by following the word sequence, he is also seen by the yogis who are absorbed in him, with their mind merging in him, and whose end is not known even to devas and asuras. Whose end is not known? The Devaya Tasmai Namaha. To that Deva, in the form of Krishna here, to him is my prostration. Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Devaya Tasmai Namaha. That is how the Dhyana Sloka of Bhagavad Gita has been written. Who has written it, we do not know. But aptly described the author, Vyasa, the characters, Krishna, Arjuna and others in the Mahabharata has been depicted in these Dhyana Slokas or initials, invocation verses. We will get into the Bhagavad Gita, actual Bhagavad Gita in the next class. But let me do the notional beginning of the first verse. It is like this. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. This is the question by Drdarashtra to Sanjaya. O Sanjaya, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva, my people and Pandavas, Kima Kurvata, what did they do? Where Dharma kshetre kurukshetre. In the battlefield for the righteousness of Dharma, Samaveda Yuyutsava. Assembled. Samaveda means assembled. Yuyutsavaha means for the purpose of fight. This is the first verse. We will get into these details in tomorrow's class, same time, and we'll continue thereafter. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawada.
Thank you very much, Binduji. I'm opening the hand raising in the chat. If there's any follow-up questions or any interesting viewpoints, please come up or put in the chat. Binduji will be here for another half an hour or so.
Mahodaya, I just wanted to say, offer my gratitude for doing this. The introduction was beautiful and very insightful. And the deeper study of Bhagavad Gita is just so gratifying. And as per your advice, I'm referring to other Gitas also now. And the practical guidance that I'm getting from it and such deeper truths that are being revealed, it's just amazing. Just love studying Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for teaching it to us. As you know, I won't be able to come every day, but I will attend whenever on those days that I can. So just pranam Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you, Shobha. Thank you for your words.
The replays are going to be available, so if you're not able to come for the session, you can always listen to it at the time that's suitable for you.
I will be listening to all of them. Yes.
Okay. So the recommended, chant, Binduji, or the sloka recitation, is it the first one you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Namaste, Bharata.
Namaste, Pranam Bindoji. Hari Om.
Pranam.
Dhanyawada for this session, Bindoji. Grateful to hear more and more about Gita, and especially from somebody who's immersed into Adhyatmika studies. And from you, it'll be a good experience, I'm sure. Keenly looking forward to this one. Thank you for this wonderful initiative and a session today, Bindoji.
Thank you, Bharata.
Namaste, Bindoji. I also wanted to say thanks. I think 2 beautiful introductory sessions. Yesterday's session was mind-blowing. I think today's thing also very revealing about the attitude that we have to take towards Gita. So, yeah, really very beautiful 2 introductory sessions. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Srini. Namaste, Ganesh Prasad.
Namaste, Bindoji.
Namaste.
Finally, at last, you have begun. You have started navigating. The real journey starts from today, I hope. Because,
Right.
You had said before Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is your duty to convince all of us with the Gita, which is the handbook of one's daily life. And otherwise people may they may become completely mendicants. That's what you said. So in order to put us on the path of reality, and you have taken up this long-awaited session has been started, and with a great beginning yesterday. In fact, the whole day today, I was just thinking of those three aspects, the synecdoches of Bhishma and Drona, and how they were interchanged. And Brahmana had become Kshatriya and Kshatriya had become Brahmana, which is the Sandhikala of the Dwapara and Kali. A very great beginning, Bindoji. And I wanted to tell you, I wanted to share one thing.
Yes.
I used to read so many books about Indian philosophy since my PUC days. But when my father died, I started reading Bhagavad Gita. And after the third chapter, I had virtually some kind of a fear that I might leave home permanently if I read the whole book. So I started reading all other things except Bhagavad Gita because I had some kind of a childish notion in those days that it would completely push me away into the lines of Bhagavad Gita, philosophy. And since my mother was alive, so I could not dare reading Bhagavad Gita anymore. So only 3 chapters I had read. Fortunately, when you had promised last year that you would be taking up, again I started reading for the second time in my life after 35 years. So I could complete only 12 chapters. Again it was stopped by somehow. So finally, this is a very great, long-awaited hour for me personally, and thanks to your lotus feet that it would make me reach the path of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, Binduji.
Thank you, Ganesh Prasad. We will read the whole Bhagavad Gita together.
Yeah.
So one time you will read the entire Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
There are questions, Bindoji. I think Rajendra ji is asking, why is war used as the story backdrop to deliver the message? So,
Okay, I was planning to explain this tomorrow, but since you have asked the question, and we have time, let me explain it. War is not used as the background to explain philosophy. The war which is being depicted is not the war which is happening outside. It is a war we are all facing every day, every moment in our life. That is what is Vyasa depicting as Kauravas and Pandavas. Kauravas, 100 people, shows the innumerable problems we are facing in our life every moment. And even if we have the good 5 qualities which is required by the what you call adhikaritvam or the nature of a apt student, we cannot be succeeding against these hundreds of problems that face us. We need a Jagat Guru, a mentor and a guide who has the total picture in mind and guide us at every aspect of our life. So Bhagavad Gita is not just giving an answer to one question or one problem. The entire humanity's problem, what we can face in our life today, life is narrated by Bhagavad Gita and the solutions for it. Krishna is not telling the problems alone, nor the solutions alone. He is narrating this problem, the solution for it, at each level, at the physical level, at the mental level, and the intellectual level. All the three levels, whatever is being faced by us in our day-to-day life is what is being solved by Bhagavad Gita. So the war which is being mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharata is a poetic way of bringing our attention to our own problems. In fact, there is a famous statement that Vyasochishtam Sarvam. Everything else, every story or every event or every problem which we face in our life has been covered in the Mahabharata, the 100,000 verses. You have a problem, you will find a character of that problem in the Mahabharata story. Nobody can escape a problem unless they know how to face it. Running away from problem can never be a solution to a problem. So Vyasa in the 100,000 verses has not only just written this war part of it, he has written all aspects of human mind, the crookedness, the goodness, everything has been covered in this thing by characterization of the people in the story. So when he assembled all of them for 18 days in the Kurukshetra, it is a symbol of saying that the entire world's problem is in one spot of Kurukshetra. The word Kuru has the root Kr, which is the same root for action. Kartavyam, Karmam, Kriya, all of them coming from the same root. So, every problem which is stemming out of an action is present in the Kurukshetra. And Krishna is teaching Arjuna by verse and question and counter question by Arjuna how to face each one of them, where to look for, what to look for, and how do you surmount the problem. This is being given. So the war should not be taken as a literal war by the world which is being mentioned as Kauravas and Pandavas. It is a story written by Vyasa for the benefit of humanity.
Binzaji, on the
I think
schedule, any break next week? Because holidays and many people might be traveling and
But
anything you're...
where is the holidays? What holidays? Eh? Which holiday you are talking about?
Next week is year end, right?
Next week is year end.
Almost all
Oh,
companies, like we are all going to get holidays like from next week till the new year.
if you are giving holiday for your mobile phone, I can give holiday.
Okay, just don't want to miss any important session, especially live. So I was just asking.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. If you can give a holiday for your mobile, then I'll also give holiday for the classes.
Okay, got it.
No calendar should be followed. Nitya Gita. That's all.
Hello, Bindoji.
Namaste.
Namaskar. Yeah. So this whole Bhagavad Gita is too surreal, right? And you see, it's like, supposed to be happening in between the war. And it is like, being relayed, live, right? With that Divya Drishti or whatever.
Yeah.
And which itself tells the nature of reality in a certain way, right? Ultimately. That, it's actually about awareness, no? Ultimately. The very fact
Yeah.
that like he's able to see. So it's like, I think in spite of like being a very, what you can be very ubiquitous kind of, text, uh, it's still like, I think people have not realized, you can say the importance or like, it's like the context has to be debated far more. Uh,
Yes.
and, of course the contents are anyway like, explored and debated, but the context in which it's all happening, though I just had some this thing yesterday. Uh, the gentleman who talked about it
Mm.
yesterday, I missed it. But I think the context is like it's too surreal actually. So it's like a kind of like how can even somebody come out with if it was a story kind of a thing? How can it even be? How can even one imagine this kind of story, right?
Absolutely. That is the whole thing, no?
Hmm.
Vyasa has to be, the- all the humanity put together, praise him, still it will fall short of for the work he has done. And see, the thing is that beauty is that, those who have learned Mahabharata in full will appreciate it. The
Yeah, yeah.
beauty of the language of Mahabharata in the Sanskrit is something which you cannot see in any other poem. That is the language beauty. Not only the language beauty, the beauty of the story woven by that language, the interconnectedness between one story to another story, and sub-story which is giving you a step towards the next story ladder. So it is a, what you call, maze of stories where you really won't know where are you being taken if you really read Mahabharata. So you will not, you can see, the thing is that those who have tried to read Mahabharata in Sanskrit original have told that they have begun and left it at least 3-4 times and still not been able to complete it. Because the beauty is so much, they forget about completing it. That is the beauty of the language and the formation of the story. All what most of the people have studied is, some people have translated it, like Krishna Mohan Ganguly and others who have translated it. That translations have become the reference book for others to mention about Bhagavad. Whole thing about it. But those who have gone into the real depth of the Sanskrit aspect of everything, they cannot, explain what is the beauty of Mahabharata, because they become dumb by that time, because they become silent. They cannot, it is something like that, an experiential thing while reading the Mahabharata itself. Now you will realize the same thing when we go through the Bhagavad Gita, that which is the 700 verse out of the 100,000 verses. That itself is so enamoring us, and we will become, how can somebody write in 700 verses the entire philosophy for human being? And there is not one verse which will not be able to solve your problem on a day-to-day basis. There are people who carry Bhagavad Gita book in their hand and they flip and they find their answer for their problem written down there. To such an extent is the faith people are having in Bhagavad Gita. So, I mean, any amount of praising Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharata will be fall short of its potency. That's all I can say.
So, Bindoji, this just as this one, Bhagavad Gita, there is also another Gita, right? I mean, what is that, Ramana Gita, or what is
Gita.
that? That Krishna teaches to one disciple,
Uddhava.
no? Uddhava Gita, right?
Yes.
So that is also quite philosophical, is what, because I have actually kind of read it, yeah.
Yes, Uddhava Gita. There are many Gitas in Mahabharata itself.
Can you just give a very brief intro where the focus on philosophy within Mahabharata by these kind of sessions, so to say, right?
Yeah,
Which
I
are
can.
the other ones? Just a
I can
brief.
cover the other aspects in my maybe in the next class or so. Because the approach of Gita means advice, basically. The advice for Arjuna is different from advice to Uddhava. Arjuna's advice was for despondency. He was the mighty warrior who can defeat anybody in the world. And he throws up his arms. Just because of what? He sees his own relatives, his teachers and his grandfather and says, and on the opposite side for whom he has to take up the bow. That puts him down and he says, my hands are shivering, my body is perspiring, etc. That is one status of Arjuna's mind. Whereas Uddhava is a disciple of Krishna and always been there next to Krishna all the time. And Krishna advises him, knowing very well that time has come for him to leave this physical body, and Uddhava is going to leave further after. So, how should you lead a life when your teacher is not there with you? Is what is the Uddhava Gita. Then there is an Uttara Gita where Arjuna himself asked Krishna, can you please tell that what you told me in the Kurukshetra again? Krishna says, I can't repeat the same thing again. It won't come like that. The situation is different. So that one is less philosophical than this Bhagavad Gita which we are going to study. So that is why each time he has given advice to different people, that's all called Gita. So we will list out those things in the coming classes.
And also, is it true that when he went to meet Duryodhana, he actually dressed himself very nicely and all that, like kingly and all? And so, there are all these things keep floating around, right? I mean, because Duryodhana is going to see only those things in him, because he cannot see abstract things, right?
Right.
Is it really so? I mean, or it was just a story he just floated?
No, it was like that. That is what Vyasa's beauty is there, no?
Okay.
And still, Duryodhana doesn't give him a seat to sit.
Right, yeah.
Instead that he is a king of Mathura who has come there. So as a king he went. He didn't go as Krishna, the cowherd boy, which was his earlier form. But having killed his uncle and has become he has taken the throne of Mathura, Madhuratipate. So that Atipa of Mathura is the one which went in the kingly uniform to Duryodhana. But Duryodhana doesn't see him as a kingly Krishna. He still sees him as the cowherd boy and doesn't offer him a seat. The Mahabharata is beautiful.
Okay, Bindoji. This will be very challenging to attend every day, but I hope I'll be able to make it.
Yeah, I am also taking a big challenge of doing it every day, but I know practically I may not be, there may be 1 or 2 days I may have to, for medical reasons or other purpose, I may have to give holiday for the classes. But at least if I am doing this regularly, there will be a pattern set in my life and those who are regularly attending. Otherwise, what happens was Wednesday and Friday and Sunday was the only way in which it was being done. Now then you can form a pattern in your life day to day. Okay, every day evening 8:30 to 9. You don't have to wait for the question answer session. You can go before that if you have some other work. But then you can listen to the replay. And as for the question of Srinivas is concerned, the mobile accessibility will make you attend the class. Wherever you are, holiday, you can still listen.
It is like forceful savings, Bindoji.
Yes.
We have to, somehow it will work out. Once you have done that, you have made up that, determined that every day it should be there. So like the forceful savings, we will save it. And certainly it goes on and on.
No, it's a huge commitment on my side also to commit every day. In fact,
of course. That is the greatest thing and the greatest the blessings that we are all having.
In fact, my wife asked me, so you means now onwards, you won't be available in the evening for the family? I said, I'll be with my other family. I said.
Binduji, to contrast it with Aparokshanubhuti and all, no? In Aparokshanubhuti, that one central idea told in so many different ways. And
Yes.
it was kind of a repetition in a way, and as a repetition meaning like it's like kind of too much focus on one specific kind of things. But I think the Bhagavad Gita takes a totally different approach, right? I mean, okay, if you can't get it, don't worry. Then there are other ways to understand or something like that. Then so many different ways are then dwelled into. Am I right in understanding it that way, or?
Not exactly. Aparokshanubhuti had a what you call pattern in which a sadhaka should grow from de-identifying with the physical body to the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana culmination in Atma Dhyana. Whereas Bhagavad Gita has got different aspects of life which need to be addressed, from the karma to bhakti to jnana, and how do you make all the three work for you, in what approach you have to do. So these are all two different aspects of it altogether.
Okay, maybe my interpretation was wrong because I read the second chapter and then I found that rest of the chapters are like, okay, if you don't get it, then like, at least you get this. If not anything, at least like just trust me. Just, have a trust in me, it'll happen kind of thing. So something like that, right? I mean, where, of course, in certain circles like, Muji and all, it's always explained in that way. It helps in that particular way. But fundamentally, I also felt that it was, on those lines actually. But anyway, we'll listen to you and find out.
Okay, so see you too. Yeah, go ahead, Bharata.
No, nothing. Binoji, there are a couple of more questions from Srikas ji and Kitu ji. Before you can look at them, my simple request to both Srikas ji and Kitu ji is that most of these questions that you are asking perhaps will be slowly in multiple layers upon layers. We will get the answers as we go through the series of this Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure most of these questions will be addressed. And secondly, please do follow the room. Please do follow the club. Please be a little more regular. that will perhaps add more weightage to the questions that you ask, and also perhaps help you in terms of getting a little more continuity. But then I would now leave it to Bindoji. Bindoji, please look at these couple of interesting questions from Srikas ji and Kitu ji, and I'll perhaps leave it to you to kind of see how that can be addressed. They may be a little more complex than an answer that can be provided in one single session.
Yeah, I'm just going through Srikash Vuna's question. Hindu scriptures speak of infinite Mahayugas and Manvantaras. May I understand why Puranas and Itihasa primarily narrate the deities and events of our current Mahayuga and Manvantara and not those other cycles? See, for that aspect of Mahayugas, Manvantaras, etc., the best approach is that these are primarily stories written for understanding the karma and rebirth aspect of our day-to-day life. And for that, there's Puranas and there's books write about these Mahayugas and Manvantara. But in the question of the reality of them will come into picture only if you are taking it for granted that you are the body or you are the individual jiva or the limited egoistic person. Are you that or not is the first question which we have to ask and find an answer for that. Bhagavad Gita is addressing that. All the Upanishads have addressed that. So once you know that, then you will know what is the real meaning of Mahayugas and Manvantaras. They are terms used in the Puranas, no doubt about it. But they are all our own experiences in our own life. It is nothing to do with our birth and rebirth. So you will know that what is a Mahayuga, what is a Manvantara, as per our experiential part is concerned. So you will know that why that is being used there as a story, because in the Puranas you cannot believe all the aspects of the story because they are all poetic license with which they write that. So we have to look into that to understand it more. Kitu has asked, is it possible to share how Gita addresses our Kurukshetra in modern times, like polarization, result obsession, etc.? This is what exactly you will know when you follow Bhagavad Gita through the lecture series which we'll go through, because Kurukshetra, as I told you, is not outside, not a physical location in one part of the country. It is happening within ourselves. That's what I said, the word Kuru, the root is Kru, from where the action, karma, kriya, everything is coming from the same root, verbal root. So Kurukshetra, Kshetra is the place, is what Bhagavad Gita tells us, Kshetraknyam chapi mam viddhi, sarva kshetreshu bharata. So the Kshetra is considered as my life. My life is my Kshetra. And there my actions are my Kurukshetra. And that, when I do not know the reality, I tend to polarize. I tend to become a victim of my desires, my raga, dvesha, etc., all the lust and greed, etc. So how to overcome these things are taught in the Bhagavad Gita. So we will see each aspects of it as we proceed further into the Bhagavad Gita. Please follow the room and come attend regularly. Join the room so that you get notification. As Aryan, your message has been well received. I told Prakash to post the classroom in the chat of the room. But if you follow the room, and if you go down, you will get all upcoming rooms. But the moment it becomes live, it is going out of the room's part. So that is where we will put it in the chat. Okay. So let us see tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Hari Om. Namaste.
Hari Om. Jai
Thank
Shri
you,
Krishna,
Vinodji.
Binduji.
Hari Om.
Dhanyavad.
Jai
Good night.
Shri. Hari Om.